There is breaking Celtic transfer news on Wednesday the 28th of December. You might have seen a few bloggers talking about it. Josip Juranovic to Chelsea for £8 million. I've been doing some digging on the story and I think it's all bullshit. I'm going to tell you why. So a couple of hours ago, a story broke about Celtic transfer Josip Juranovic, and one of the first platforms to run about it was, where is it now? It was the Glasgow Times that I first seen it on. Josip Juranovic Celtic transfer to Chelsea as Chelsea make their move. Now, doing a bit of digging, there was no blogs at the current time. It is 10 minutes past 12 in the afternoon. There was no Chelsea bloggers talking about it. There's no London publications talking about it other than the Mail Online. Yep, the Mail Online is the only publication that's broke the news, and I'm going to show you the timeline of how this story actually came about this morning. So if we go back to broke around about 8:30, 9:30 this morning. In fact, if I go to this page here, it should show me the exact time. So 28th, which is day 8:48, they put out an article that says Chelsea are ready to accelerate the long-term interest in Celtic right-back Josip Juranovic after Reece James limped off against Bournemouth, with the Croatian World Cup star potentially available for as little as £8 million. There's no other publication at this time put out this story, and the guy that put out the story is a guy called David Kent. And after doing a bit of digging, this guy David Kent has a reputation for putting out false news on the Mail Online, and he's no social media following, he's no nothing. You can't even find this guy online. If it's even a guy, it could be a false name. So then up steps some of the bloggers, and the video Celts were the first to sort of, the Celtic one to come on about it. Juranovic to Chelsea, any club but Chelsea. Juranovic, do not leave and go to Chelsea, you know. And then the Mail Online story, obviously there, and he does say the Croatian World Cup star potentially available for as little as £8 million. Now, this is where people have jumped on the story and twisted it and said it's an £8 million bid. What it will do is it'll open up the floodgates for other teams down south. Your Man United's, your Arsenal will go for him. It'll probably be Man United. Man City might come in for him, but one club that won't will definitely not be Barcelona or Real Madrid. We'll talk about Real Madrid and Jeremy Frimpong and how Celtic will benefit from a Jeremy Frimpong move to Real Madrid. But back to the Juranovic move. The Glasgow Times obviously came out with it earlier on, and then a Chelsea blog, BBC Sport, I mean, even them this morning talking about Graham Porter has his fingers crossed that Reece James' knee injury isn't so serious. It's just, you have to really, at this time of year, it's just absolute crazy. It's mayhem. It's just, there's so much fake news going around. I mean, even now, if we click on it, you know, there's nothing coming out. None of the big blogs down south. Chelsea Chronicle aren't even talking about it. Celtic are here saying that Chelsea might set to ignite bidding war. You know, there's one thing, you need to do a bit of research when you have a responsibility to put information like this, and it's something certainly I do on this channel, is make sure you try and get a bit valid, you know, you validate it, the story, you know. Juranovic valuation 10 million, there's nothing else. Football London, Stamford Bridge aren't even talking about it. They're talking about other players. None of the big bloggers down south, you know, none of the big football channels are talking about this story so far. It seems to be that the blogosphere in Scotland has grabbed onto this story, and it is a story from the Mail. Now, if we're going to be taking our stories from the Mail Online, you know, we've got something else really wrong with us. The story will go over it. Chelsea are ready to revive their interest in Celtic Josip Juranovic as they await news on the extent of Reece James, and we'll see where this story goes. But for me, it's not going to happen. He's not going to go to Chelsea, and he's certainly not going to go for £8 million. In other Celtic FC transfer news, we've got a story that's coming out of Germany about an ex-Celtic player, but Celtic will a big financial windfall from this story. Former Celtic ace Jeremy Frimpong, according to reports, is now being eyed up by Real Madrid. The German Giants paid around about 11 million for Frimpong 2 years ago, and the 22-year-old has been linked with moves to Manchester United, but according to a Spanish outlet, Real Madrid have submitted an official inquiry for Jeremy Frimpong. The valuation would see the player going to Real Madrid for in the region of 40 to 50 million would be enough to get him in the upcoming window. So Celtic usually have a 10 to 15% sell-on clause, so that'd be a nice little tidy sum that will come Celtic's way if Frimpong does move to the Bernabeu, as I say. And then we'll have one last look at any updates to see if there is any more information about the Juranovic story. And I'll just click on this website to check to see what news are out. No, there's nothing new coming out. Could be the fact that it is just a story that's came out of the Mail this morning. You know, the Daily Mail has said, it's the Daily Mail, they put out that much BS, it's unbelievable. Are we really going to take what it could be? It could be just the fact that the Daily Mail are just stirring the pot to see who jumps in first and makes a bid for Juranovic this window. So, hope you enjoyed tonight's game with the Hibernian. I should hope Celtic will win this quite comfortably. We're in a good place just now. We're really just getting started after the break that we had, the early winter break. Celtic always come out flying after the winter break. Let's just get this in the next game done, and then we can move on to the transfer window. And that's when you'll really know when things in the Celtic transfer news will really heat up. And it'll be a case of, will someone come in early for Juranovic, or will teams wait until the last minute and try and make a deadline day deal and try and get him from Celtic on the cheap? If that was the case, I don't think Celtic will sell him on the last day, unless it's a really crazy offer like about 25 million.